Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you so much for always keeping it TV47. It is time for TV47 Weekend Edition with me, Linda Alela. And as I always say, by extension, we will be having her say later on as we have a conversation that revolves around making sure that we address the concerns of women. Name it, of course, we'll be talking about period poverty, talking about the cat, talking about how we can end all this, heinous acts that are meted upon women. Talk about femicide, talk about, obstetric, we always say it's a tongue twister, cancer and all the concerns in relation to that. And of course, I open the lines for you to speak to us as well as 22047, which is the SMS short code. And I'll be looking at some of the questions that you asked tonight and we get to that conversation. But we have lots lined up for you that is in relation to news. And I think it's important that we take a look at that first before we get to that talk.
Tonight,
tumepoteza tayari watu 8, mili 8 imekuwa recovered. Na pia watu 14 tayari wameshaletwa hapa kwa hospitali ya Sultan Ahmed, wakatibiwa na wakaenda nyumbani.
11 bodies retrieved in Nairobi and Makueni counties just today as residents of Mathare decry neglect by the government that pledged to help.
So far, msaada yenye tumepata na tunashukuru sana ni World Vision. Hatujaona county government, national government, ni sisi tu wenyewe wakaaji na well wishers ndio wamekuwa kisimama na sisi.
Nairobi is too important to be left just like that. The president and I will take a keen interest in what is going on.
And UDA supremacy politics in Nairobi deepens after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says he and the president will take charge on the running of county affairs.
Mimi sina tofauti na naibu wa rais, ni mzee ambao anaheshimiwa, amekuwa kwa siasa.
Calls for the government to rein in hard on bandits terrorizing residents take center stage as 2 soldiers who perished in the chopper crash that claimed General Ogola's life are laid to rest.
The TV47 Weekend Edition begins right now. A sign language interpreter on the other end is Rhoda Nyamai. And of course, the hashtag, as always, her say. Once again, I'll be looking at some of your comments as you send us, during the broadcast. Let's get straight to the news stories of the day. And the number of bodies of those swept away by raging flood waters in Mathare continues to rise, with reports saying that up to 7 bodies were discovered today alone. The residents are, however, up in arms, decrying utter neglect by the government, which had pledged to assist in rebuilding their lives and even set aside billions for the same.
Mathare, Nairobi County. For the 3rd day in a row, the search for bodies in the Mathare River continues, with many families continuing to search for their missing loved ones said to have been swept away by the raging floods caused by the ongoing heavy rains. This morning, 1 body was discovered in Mathare River as residents scoured the debris to try and find more missing persons. The full number of those who have been found is, however, different depending on who you ask. This evening, reports emerged that 6 more bodies have been found in the area.
Ni mili na kono ina decompose na ni wanawake. Kuna mahali imeshikwa na hizi zinaitwa reeds. Ukiteremka sasa ushike huo mto uteremke nao sasa ni vile maji yanaenda. Ni wanawake wanakaa weupe kabisa, lakini nafikiri ni juu ya ya kukwaruza na maji.
The community here puts itself at risk with no equipment to assist in the search for bodies.
Hatujaona county government, national government, ni sisi tu wenyewe wakaaji na well wishers ndio wamekuwa kisimama na sisi. So far tumekuwa tukitembea kwa manyumba huku, tukibishabisha mamlango, tunapewa blanketi, tunapewa manini, maunga, tunakuja tunaletea watu hapa kama Mathare North team, Mathare North Rescue Team.
This comes despite President William Ruto holding emergency multi-agency talks with senior government officials earlier this week.
We can begin to inform citizens if they are in places that poses danger to them. We begin to relocate them. I already told the National Youth Service to provide some land for us to relocate some of the people who are in the most dangerous parts of Nairobi.
Another huge problem facing the community is the lack of security in the area, with many saying that it has decreased the help they can provide to those who have been adversely affected.
Ile changamoto tuko nayo, vijana wanatufuruga sana. Sana hapa chini tukileta chakula. Vijana wanatufuruga sana, wanasema sisi ni wakatel. Na sisi tumejitolea.
After TV47 witnessed firsthand the help the community has been offering residents of Kiamaiko on Friday, the community as well as charitable organizations have also stepped up to help those in Mathare who have lost everything in the floods.
We are here to do what we call the first wave of the response, where we are giving 10,000 shilling per household. Initially we start with about 189 households, but our plan is to keep on expanding as we go along. The initial one is 1,000 households.
Efforts to look for bodies still in the river continue, with affected families fearing the worst. Kisewa Emory, TV47.
And speaking of the rains, I think it also is not looking so good outside. So a polite reminder that you need to be careful, as you can evidently see. We're talking about a scenario where, it is right here around the company, but equally, very few minutes, the rains have been quite heavy. It's literally, water all over. And I think we're pretty much close to the Kiambu Road, as well a bit to Thika Road. So please, if you are finding your way to a different destination, it's important that you are careful. It is quite much of water here. As you can see, my camera person just trying to pan and, painting a picture of what it is like. Perhaps we would probably get ourselves to the roads just to see how the situation is as the bulletin progresses. But yes, I think this is just us trying to remind you to be careful, even as we continue to call upon the government to take charge in relation to what they need to do. Of course, we're still talking about poor drainage systems. We're still talking about these floods across, as you have evidently seen Emory as well, telling us as to what has played out in Mathare. I think this is beyond the government. This as well has got everything to do with us and how we take care of ourselves. We'll be giving you more updates in relation to that as and when they get to hit the desk. But next, the death toll, that is from Friday's drowning incident along the Kwamuswi River that cuts through the Kasikeu, that is Sultan Hamud Road in Makueni County, has risen to 9 after residents pulled out more bodies from the river. Makueni Deputy Governor Lucy Mulili told reporters at Sultan Hamud Sub-County Hospital rescuers had rescued about 14 people. And as Paul Kirobi tells us, victims have narrated their ordeal moments before the lorry capsized inside the river.
Family members of those who perished in the Friday accident where a lorry was swept away by raging flood waters along the Kwamuswi River that cuts through the Kasikeu Sultan Hamud Road in Makueni County thronged the mortuary for the better part of Saturday as the process of body identification got underway. Residents who were rescued from the ordeal have narrated their painful story moments before the lorry was swept away by moving waters. Despite the pain of losing their loved ones, they still have hope some of them will be found.
Si calculate tairi ya kwanza ndio imeingia, na ikiwa si mti tungetumbukizwa hapo sisi sote, na yeye hivi na dilikuwa wa nyumbani. Haya, nilipoteza huyu mwingine Raymond sababu ni kijana wa nyumbani na ni fundi pia.
Naona mto, kamwambia naona umefungiwa na mto, kaniambia ndio, kamwambia usifuke. Ilikuwa saa 6 kaka, nikaenda kwa shamba kutafutia ng'ombe. Niliporudi nikiwa huko kwa shamba nikasikia nduru.
However, there's still much fear that there could be more people who drowned into the water, and there's still little hope if they will be found alive. Makueni Deputy Governor Lucy Mulili has urged residents to be vigilant and not to cross flooded areas.
Hofu ya kwamba kuna watu zaidi ambao inashukiwa ya kwamba walibebwa na maji lakini hawajapatikana.
Bereaved families have urged the government to construct roads in order to avoid such instances to occur in the near future. Kenya Red Cross team and other responders said 14 people were rescued from the water. The 14 were part of a group of people who were inside the lorry when the tragedy happened on Friday afternoon. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Away from the rains, President William Ruto has secured Zimbabwe's support for Azimio leader Raila Odinga's bid, that is for the African Union Commission. A statement on Saturday says, Ruto said that Kenya and Zimbabwe have a deep understanding that underpins mutual support over the years in diverse arenas. And the president said that Kenya will support Zimbabwe's bid for readmission to the Commonwealth. As of course, the head of state added that Kenya will also back the African Union's call for the lifting of illegal sanctions against Zimbabwe.
Because of time, I'll just say all protocol observed.
3 significant things are important as we focus in consolidating our market into one big, attractive, potential market. Number 1 is to make sure that our Africa Union Commission has the power to be able to speak on our behalf. The current Africa Union Commission has very little power, in fact none. We set up a commission and kept all the power as nations. We need to donate some power from our countries so that the Africa Union Commission can do business.
We also, my dear brother, applaud your stand regionally, continentally, internationally, where you have publicly denounced sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe.
Bilateral relations and a shared determination to advance and enhance mutual benefit through partnership and consultation. Mr. President, I look forward to working with you as we redesign, reconfigure, and re-engineer the Africa Union to make it fit for purpose, so that together as 1.4 billion people in this continent can work together to unlock the tremendous potential that exists in our continent.
All right, 2 army officers who were aboard the ill-fated helicopter that crashed at Sindari, Elgeyo Marakwet County last Thursday have been laid to rest today. In separate occasions, Colonel Duncan Keitani from Colonel Operations was laid to rest at Sao's village in Baringo County, while Major General George Magondu, a pilot, was buried at Karimenu village, that is in Nyeri County. Calls for the government to rein in hard on bandits that are terrorizing residents took center stage, as Vera Alberta now tells us.
A cloud of sadness engulfed the villages of South in Baringo and Karimendu in Nyeri, where 2 KDF soldiers, who are part of those who perished in a chopper crash last Thursday, were being laid to rest this afternoon. Colonel Duncan Keitani, who is being buried at South in Baringo County, has been eulogized as a man who was dedicated to his work.
Hii kifo ya amri ya kiongozi wa kikosi ya jeshi letu General Ogola na Duncan na wale wengine itakuwa mwanzo wa kazi ya kusafisha na kuleta amani katika bonde hili la Ufa.
Colonel Keitani is survived by his wife and 4 children. At the same time, Major General George Magondu was also being laid to rest at Karimendo in Nyeri County, where many attendees saying he positively impacted their lives.
It hurts me that you are no more. I will miss you, bro.
Major General Magondu is survived by his wife and 3 children.
It was the fire, you were the water. You knew the right things to say. You always fought for me and protected me. My brother was a great favorite with everybody. Goodbye, my brother.
Calls for the government to rein in hard on bandits terrorizing residents took center stage, with leaders from the North Rift blaming the government for the accident, which also claimed the life of Chief of Defense Forces Francis Ogola.
Embrace peace.
Because were it not for the challenge of insecurity in this region, these gallant soldiers would not have met their demise.
Until now, 7 out of the 10 army personnel have been buried, with the rest set to be buried next week. Vera Alberta, TV47.
Thank you, Vera, for that. Now, with just about 2 months to the commencement of the new Social Health Authority, millions of expectant mothers who rely on the Linda Mama cover have been thrown into a state of uncertainty as the fate of the medical cover that is in the new UHC rules remains unknown. But just what is Linda Mama? That is a question that we ask, and how important is it, where of course it is headed. Our health and science reporter Elizabeth Atieno has worked on that very story that we'll be bringing to you shortly after this quick short break.
Na safari hii katika Mfahamu Kiongozi tutakuletea viongozi aina mbalimbali.
Nikuwe na Nisani kama 10 na pia nikuwe menua minibus. Minibus niko niwa.
Kushinda unaangalia simu ya mzee. Soma Biblia ama ingia kwa washroom ujisugue. Mpaka nimetoa hivi.
I don't know whether any of my children would want to get into the political field. Sijajua bado.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30 kuendelea.
Join us on a journey through the concrete jungles and rising skylines, where every beam, every nail tells a story of progress and vision.
In every aspect of life, you know, you have to look at several dynamics.
From groundbreaking.
Nowadays with the tech, you can check on different websites or you check online and you can see some inspiration. So at least that one would be a direction already. I'll know like what kind of style you're going for.
To finishing touches, witness the dedication of the hard-working teams who
Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Now, the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock has today discovered about 107 bags of suspected counterfeit fertilizer in Homa Bay County. This comes in the wake of mounting pressure for Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi to vacate office over the same. Nelson Mwereza with more.
For the second day now, the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock toward NSPB stores in areas said to have been mostly affected by the distribution of fertilizer that is said to have been fake.
We have noted 107 bags of the GPC, and the GPC is part of the fertilizer under question. So they have been put aside, not to be sold to the public.
Their probe took them to 4 counties including Homa Bay, where they discovered 107 bags of GPC fertilizer, which are believed to be fake. Speaking at NCPB depot in Homa Bay town, Nyando, Member of Parliament Jared Okello, who is the chair of the committee, said the findings was a result of farmers' complaint, which raised concern over the authenticity of the distributed fertilizer.
We have also noted actually that a farmer came here and registered his complaint on the same. As in line with the policy directive now, that farmer ought to have been compensated his 6 bags.
Okello's statement was backed up by Mumia's Member of Parliament, Honorable Peter Salasia, who expressed their surprise with the Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi for lacking information on the ongoing fake fertilizer distribution in the country.
When you call upon the CS of Agriculture, Linturi, to come to tell us what he understands with the issue of the fake fertilizer. It came to our notice that he surprised us that he doesn't even have any information.
However, Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga appealed to the committee to practice fairness and equity, since the fertilizer which was distributed to our county is 130 million Kenya shillings, less than the stipulated allocation.
The Additional Allocations Act states that Homa Bay is supposed to receive fertilizer worth 165 million. By our calculation, the fertilizer that has been received in Homa Bay does not reach 30 million, which means that 130 million worth of fertilizer has not been brought to Homa Bay.
This comes few days when pressure is still mounting on the Agriculture CS to vacate his office over the fake fertilizer scandal. Linturi will now know his fate after the committee concludes their probe into the supply of alleged fake fertilizer at the National Cereals and Produce Board stores. This comes a day after 110 members of parliament, led by Bumula Legislature Jack Wamboka, appended signatures seeking to remove Linturi from office. Nelson Mwareza, TV47.
And away from that, tonight, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has admonished Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja on the status of development in the county, saying he will work with the president to restore its lost glory. Gachagua's remarks during a women empowerment event in Langata constituency, attended by Sakaja's main rival in Embakasi North, Member of Parliament James Gakuya, deepened the supremacy battle for UDA chairmanship in Nairobi.
A women empowerment event in Langata constituency, attended by UDA and Azimio MPs, exposed political fault lines in the UDA party after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua criticized Governor Johnson Sakaja's leadership at City Hall, saying him and President William Ruto will now take charge on the affairs of the nation's capital.
Nairobi is too important to be left just like that. The president and I will take a keen interest in what is going on, so that tupanga in Nairobi to make sure Nairobi we restore the glory of the city in the sun. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba watu ya Nairobi wanapata huduma zile ambaye zinatakikana. And we are going to do that not because we are voters here, but we are stakeholders here.
The Deputy President's critique coming a day after UDA party elections has divided the party, as Gachagua is supporting Embakasi North MP James Gakuya against Governor Sakaja, who has declared interest for the seat.
So leo nataka musikie kwangu, sio kwa mtu mwingine ama fununu. Mimi nasimama kuwa chairman wa UDA Nairobi County. Si ndio hiyo? Mumesikia? So sio huruma.
Sisi si wapungufu wa maneno na sisi si wapungufu wa kujenga taifa. Tujenge taifa kwa sababu tusije tukawa watu ambaye hawaoni, watu ambao ni vipofu ya maendeleo. Ukienda huko nje, siasa zikiisha, watu wanarudi pamoja, wanajenga nchi pamoja. Mimi nasema tuachane na siasa dogo, tuangalie maisha ya Kenya na tusongeshe Kenya mbele kama taifa moja.
Sakaja, who enjoys the support of Azimio MCAs at the Nairobi County Assembly, is facing rebellion within the UDA party, including Nairobi UDA MPs and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, who wants him impeached over graft allegations.
It is our observation, an observation that is now the view of a majority of the city county's residents, that Nairobi could be facing its worst leadership crisis at City Hall in this capital's history. The dream that was sold during the campaigns of a city of order and dignity, hope and opportunity for all has turned into the nightmare that Nairobi is becoming.
Despite Sakaja's allies claiming he will emerge the winner in Friday's grassroots elections, whoever wins the supremacy battle in the city will have the last laugh. Apul Kamau, TV47.
All right, and back to that story that I had earlier talked about, that with just 2 months to the commencement of the new Social Health Authority, and millions of expectant mothers who rely on the Linda Mama cover that have been thrown into a state of uncertainty as the fate of the medical cover in the new UHC rules remains unknown. But just what is Linda Mama? How important is it, and where is it headed? Our health and science reporter Elizabeth Atieno tells us more on that.
In June 2013, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta launched the provision of free maternity services in a bid to cushion expectant mothers from financial barriers while seeking maternity services in public hospitals, and also to reduce the country's maternal mortality rate.
Mama ideally was meant to increase uptake of maternal child services in the hospital, or rather in the healthcare space, so that we move away from traditional birth attendants.
In 2016, the Ministry of Health transitioned the provision of the free maternal services to NHIF and rebranded it Linda Mama program.
Linda Mama disburses about 5,000 shilling, be it cesarean section or SVD, that is spontaneous vaginal delivery.
So just what is the difference between NHIF and Linda Mama?
Linda Mama was never domiciled in NHIF. Linda Mama used to be a standalone program. And then it was informed that actually making it domiciled in NHIF would actually bolster the benefits in regards to the timely reimbursement of funds.
Linda Mama is a free health insurance cover targeting women in Kenyan slums and rural areas. It is meant for the women that can't afford the NHIF card, which goes for about 500 Kenya shillings per month. It covers the 9 months of pregnancy and expires 3 months after delivery.
We serve 15% of those are NHIF clients, right? And 85% being Linda Mama clients.
But Linda Mama has had its fair share of challenges. Top on the list is the delayed reimbursement from the government to the health facilities. On the 23rd of April 2024, Health CS Susan Nakhumicha said the Ministry of Health disbursed 2 billion Kenya shillings to cater for the total arrears for the Linda Mama cover across all health facilities.
Equally, 1 billion has been paid to all faith-based facilities that had claims. 1.5 billion has been paid to all government facilities that were owed. And lastly, 2 billion has been paid to private health facilities.
For now, the fate of the 10-year-long Linda Mama program is hanging in the balance following the unveiling of the new Social Health Authority, whose implementation is slated to begin in July this year.
But then again, if we are able to bring the spirit of Linda Mama into whatever vehicle, be it bolstering the gains of Linda Mama or moving it into SHIF, then again, I don't think we would lose anything by having Linda Mama capped.
The Linda Mama program is administered by NHIF and has an annual budgetary allocation from the National Treasury. So far, 65 to 70% of deliveries in Kenya take place through Linda Mama, with over 1.1 million mothers registering for the program each year. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, and we get sporty. KCB RFC dominated Northern Suburbs with a commanding 65-7 victory in the Enterprise Cup quarterfinals, securing their spot in the Cup semis in a match played at the KCB Sports Club in Ruaraka. The game began sluggishly, with the slopy ground slowing down the pace, which gave Northern Suburbs an edge to hold off the Bankers in the opening minutes of the match. However, KCB broke the deadlock when Kolian Passion scored scored the first try, followed by Emmanuel Opondi and Austin Sikutua and captain Griffin Musila, each adding a try to the scoreboard. Emmanuel Opondi successfully converted the tries, contributing to KCB's lead by halftime. The score stood at 33-0 in favor of the second half. Musila secured his second try of the game, with Kolian Levi Amunga, Horus Olela and Peter Kilonzo further extending the Bankers' lead with additional tries. Despite the one-sided affair, Northern Suburbs managed to salvage a try through Meshak Opagala, with Alex Awor successfully converting, earning them a much-needed 7 points. All right, that's all we had for you. That is in relation to news. It's now time that we shift gears, and it is time that we talk about the ladies. Our guest tonight, Preeti Haman, who is a co-founder and of course co-founder, that is, of Nguvu Collective. She is here to speak just about what the initiative is all about, what the foundation is about in relation to making sure that, you know, there's that creation of positive social change in society and largely speaking to the needs of the women. Thank you so much for finding time, Mom. We'll be engaging you shortly. Allow us to take a quick short break, and her say begins after that.